the handling of surveillance footage.
We realized, like, oh crap, like, how are we going to get out of here? Like, are we safe? Then panic kind of started to set in.
Plus, a North Carolina woman stuck in the Middle East during ongoing conflict, how a couple's vacation has turned into a desperate attempt to get her home.
You're going to have setbacks, you're going to have disappointment. But you got two choices: when you're down, stay down, or pick yourself up.
And a legend in the world of college football has died, the life and legacy that Lou Holtz leaves behind.
Queen City News starts now.
Tonight, a third former Town of Mooresville employee has filed a federal lawsuit claiming that he was fired because of how he handles surveillance footage of Mayor Chris Carney, the mayor accused of walking around Town Hall without any pants. The employee claims town leaders pressured him to suppress or delete the video and related records. Lawsuit comes from the former IT director, Chris Lee. He filed the claims Wednesday morning. Queen City News reporter Shakira Speaks details the allegations in the lawsuit.
Town of Mooresville is facing yet another lawsuit related to Chris Carney, the mayor accused of walking around Town Hall in the middle of the night with no pants in October 2024. The new suit also claims the town's former IT director, Christopher Lee, says the mayor was with a female communications director. Lee claims he looked over the footage several times and noticed the mayor wasn't alone. When Lee told town leaders they should, quote, preserve and lawfully classify the electronic evidence documenting a security incident, and if they would be truthful about what happened, Lee says he was fired for being a whistleblower. And his termination showed, quote, a pattern in which the town identifies employees who possess knowledge of politically damaging electronic evidence, end quote. Lee alleges the video shows, quote, footage uniquely sensitive and politically explosive for town leadership, further saying it shows Mayor Carney in a state of partial or complete undress with his genitalia exposed and erect while he's inside Town Hall. Lee says it's inconsistent with the mayor's statement of, quote, vomiting on himself and taking off his pants. Lee says despite several town officials, including the town manager and town attorney, reviewing the footage, quote, no independent investigation was initiated. The town denies any allegation of wrongdoing in Lee's lawsuit. In a statement, officials say the town takes any concerns raised by employees or others seriously, and it plans to defend the lawsuit. Reporting in Mooresville, Shakira Speaks, Queen City News.
In Gaston County, a Lowell man is facing more than 50 felony charges after he allegedly threatened a minor to send him explicit content over Snapchat. 23-year-old Jose Arriaga is facing 40 counts of first-degree sexual exploitation of a minor, as well as 9 counts of indecent liberties, among other charges. Police report says Arriaga got the videos by telling the minor that if she blocked him, he'd send the videos to her parents, as well as threatening to tell the victim's boyfriend what she had been sending. He is being held at the Gaston County Jail with a court appearance scheduled for March 16th. He is also on an ICE detainer. Charlotte police say 2 people have serious injuries tonight after a car crash on Charlotte's northwest side. It happened around 7:30 on Mount Holly Huntersville Road, right outside the Family Dollar. No word on what authorities believe caused the crash. Charlotte police made a major drug bust on the city's southwest side on Monday, resulting in 35 arrests. Police say they confiscated more than a pound of narcotics to go along with 8 guns and 2 vehicles. They also found $4,300 in cash. In a post on X, the department says Operation Queen City Safe has disrupted criminal activity and helped relationships with residents and business owners. A North Carolina couple who got stuck in the Middle East en route to a wedding in India is safe tonight, but the pair has yet to find a way to get back to the U.S. Queen City News anchor Caroline Boyer shares the chaos they have faced in the past few days.
Anna Hildreth and her fiance left Charlotte Douglas International Airport on Wednesday, February 25th, headed to Dubai and Abu Dhabi. 3 days later, the U.S. and Israel bombed Iran, and the couple's vacation turned into days of trying and failing to flee the Middle East.
It just felt surreal because everybody was just operating as if nothing was happening, as if we were not in the middle of a war zone.
It started out as a fun vacation for Anna Hildreth and Charles Smith, full of excursions and experiences, but it turned into an evacuation.
There's missiles being shot. There's like military aircraft flying overhead.
Anna captured this video from her desert hotel's rooftop Saturday, showing what she thinks was a drone or missile being intercepted. By Sunday, March 1st, American Airlines told her she would not be able to leave the UAE until at least March 13th.
And at that point, like all flights had been canceled, the airspace was shut down, and we realized like, oh crap, like how are we going to get out of here? Like, are we safe? Then panic kind of started to set in.
After booking 7 flights, all canceled, Anna and Charles ended up piecing together 3 different hours-long taxi rides to cross over the border into Oman. She saw this cloud of smoke along the way.
Neither of us ever felt unsafe, but it was a very unsettling feeling being in a country, knowing that we're trapped and knowing that there's no flights, knowing that there's no way out.
The two eventually made it to the airport in Oman and flew to India Wednesday, where they're now safe and enjoying wedding festivities.
As soon as we touched down in India, we both, I think, just like had a moment of just like relaxation, like the weight off of our chest.
Anna and Charles feel lucky because they know several people who remain stuck in the Middle East. The problem the couple is now facing, they have yet to be able to find a flight to get back to North Carolina. They're having trouble because of how much demand there is to leave. They know some North Carolinians enduring 40-hour travel days just to make it back home. In West Charlotte, Caroline Boyer, Queen City News.
A pastor from the upstate, along with his wife, are back home tonight after they were stranded in Israel. A shut down airspace, along with missile alerts, turned the journey of faith into a trip to a bomb shelter for Josh Powell. He had been planning the trip with a group of pastors for about 6 years, but it kept getting delayed. He says the first 4 days in Jerusalem were wonderful, but it was on the 5th day when things changed.
It's an odd feeling to be in a bomb shelter with imminent danger above, but have a comfort that, as the Bible explains it, that surpasses all understanding. It really does. There's no reason to be comfortable right now.
Powell says he and his wife returned home last night around 9 p.m. and in the midst of danger and uncertainty, his faith never wavered. The war in Iran hits day 5 today as Tehran continues missile and drone attacks. Comes as Democrats in Congress are working to limit President Trump's use of military power. Margaret Chadbourne has the latest from tonight's hearing in Washington.
Earlier this evening, the Senate blocked the War Powers resolution that would have mandated the president first seek congressional approval before taking any further military actions in Iran. The vote showing that Republicans remain steadfast in supporting the president's war.
A widening divide in Congress. Lawmakers deeply split over the Trump administration's growing military operations in Iran.
President Trump has now plunged America into what he characterized yesterday could be an endless war.
Democrats accusing the president and his team of sending mixed messages and failing to prove Iran was an imminent threat to justify going into the country without first consulting Congress. Republicans are mostly rallying behind the president, although some are warning their support could fade if the conflict drags on.
I'm watching this very closely because I'm not a fan of regime change and I'm not a fan of putting boots on the ground in the Middle East.
Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth announcing new plans at the Pentagon, saying the U.S. will begin to strike deeper inside Iran and warn the military operations are just getting started.
We are accelerating, not decelerating. Iran's capabilities are evaporating by the hour.
As the war widens, lawmakers are also expressing concerns the Trump administration will need more funding to keep the military sufficiently supplied.
We're at war, and this administration is signaling more escalation ahead.
Passing any emergency funding will create a major fight on Capitol Hill. Democrats say there are just not enough details about the military spending, and some hawkish Republican lawmakers will be hesitant to greenlight it. Reporting in Washington, Margaret Chadbourne.
The Republican-led House Oversight Committee voted to subpoena U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi. Lawmakers want to question her about her handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. South Carolina's Nancy Mace moved to subpoena Bondi. The vote overwhelmingly passed. It comes at a time when the Department of Justice has admitted it withheld from the public nearly 48,000 files stemming from investigations into Epstein.
Coming up after the break, I've got the latest on some incredibly warm temperatures ahead for the Carolinas. Could we see a record? I'll show you with my pinpoint forecast next.
An investigation into Waymo tonight after one of their cars didn't stop for school bus lights. How the company bound for Charlotte is responding.
can't write it any better than this, right? North Carolina's first in flight and now first in the future of flight.
As America gets ready to celebrate 250 years, we'll tell you how they're going to the origins of flight as they look toward the future.
Coming up on Carolina Sports Live at 11, another huge game for the Hornets as they were up in Beantown to take on the Celtics, and they grabbed their 6th straight win against the second best team in the East. We break that all down. Plus, the Black and Blue have locked in 2 key players, and we have some Panthers preseason news as well. All of that and more coming up at 11.
All right, good stuff. Go Hornets. They are rolling right now. One of the hottest teams in the NBA. Gia, we'll see you in just a little bit. You're watching Queen City News, the most honored and the most local news in Charlotte. Waymo, the center of more controversy tonight after the NTSB announced they are investigating the self-driving car company after reports of the vehicles failing to stop for school buses on multiple occasions. A report from the NTSB shows that when the car contacted a remote agent in Michigan to ask if the bus was signaling drivers to stop, the agent incorrectly replied no. Kelly Wiley reports on why the incident from the company on its way to Charlotte is causing concern.
The NTSB is revealing more information about how and why this self-driving Waymo vehicle failed to stay stopped as flashing lights on this school bus signaled children were loading. Investigators said in their preliminary report, the Waymo was initially the first vehicle to stop for the Austin ISD school bus. But then they said the automated driving system phoned a friend. Specifically, it prompted one of the company's remote assistance agents, a team of more than 70 human beings who respond to requests for information from the automated driving system. The system, according to NTSB, asked, "Is this a school bus with active signals?" To which the agent replied no. According to NTSB, that's when the Waymo continued driving down the road, ignoring the flashing lights and stop arm still extended on the bus.
That incident happened on January 12th. It was one of more than 20 stop arm violations the district tracked from Waymo this school year. It was also one of more than 7,000 citations the district issued to human drivers and Waymo. In fact, the NTSB said in that video alone, there were a total of 6 other cars that passed the bus while it was stopped.
The report did not detail the circumstances behind more than 20 other instances of Waymo vehicles illegally passing school buses, some of which occurred after the company issued a voluntary recall and updated its software. The safety regulator said it's investigating all the violations, including the most recent that the NTSB said involved a school bus operating on a special needs route.
CMPD needs your help identifying this man. He is a person of interest in a deadly shooting on Central Avenue January 24th. Detectives say the victim, Ludvin Antonio Guzman Morales, was found lying in the street near Sheridan Drive, dead from several gunshot wounds. If you recognize who this man is, call Crime Stoppers or submit an anonymous tip to the P3 Tips line. There is a cash reward for any info leading to an arrest. Another public measles exposure has been reported in an upstate South Carolina church. The state's health department reported 5 new cases since last week, bringing the upstate total now to 990. The department does say that they saw a rise in vaccinations last month, but with the incoming holidays, they worry that we could see an increase in cases.
This increase in vaccination is one of the reasons why this outbreak is slowing. But given the surge in cases we saw following the Christmas holidays, we remain concerned that another surge could occur following spring break, when many people can be traveling and participating in more social activities.
Dr. Linda Bell expects members of the CDC. They will arrive in South Carolina next week. Things a little more quiet in North Carolina. Union County is reporting the only new measles case in the state this week. The total number since December sits at 24, with 19 of those cases in children 17 years or younger. 67% of cases were unvaccinated, while 29% had 1 dose of the MMR vaccine and 4% were fully vaccinated. Many businesses in Chapel Hill are just now beginning to reopen after the effects of Tropical Storm Chantal last summer. Olmaz Jewelers shared this video of their shop in the aftermath of the storm. Owners say it cost them around $500,000 from infrastructure to damaged merchandise. Around 30 businesses in total were impacted by the storm, but the co-owner of the jewelry shop says the community stepped up to help him bounce back.
Roughly 5 to 6 feet of water. Water was to this level inside the store. We lost all the showcases. We lost all the equipments. We had a couple, one TV survived, and then all the electronics, unfortunately.
While the jewelry store is back open, several shops remain closed. The town is getting state and federal funding as they continue to recover. Many of us have noticed the allergy season already in full force here in Charlotte. And as it turns out, the allergies here are some of the worst in the country. Thumbtack released its first ever report ranking the sneeziest cities in America. And sitting in second place only behind Atlanta, Charlotte, North Carolina made another appearance on the list, with Raleigh coming in at 9. Meteorologist Andrew Brightman here to talk about not just the weather, but also you're a sneeze expert. Why in the world are we the second sneeziest town in the country?
It's just, you know, the pollen and the big blooms we get with all the flowers and the trees here as we go through the springtime, and we just see, you know, a lot of people can be very susceptible to some of the allergy conditions that
and we're right in the thick. We're getting ready to be right in the thick, especially with this heat coming up.
You want to know something that's nothing to sneeze at here, Brian? Some of these record temperatures that we could see here across the region as we get towards the end of the week. It's going to be warming up in a big way. And as Brian was talking about, we are moving right into prime pollen season here across the South. Maybe you're a relatively new person here to the Carolinas. Yeah, we're really getting into prime pollen season. A lot of sniffling and sneezing out there on the way across the Carolinas. Right now, though, 64 here in Charlotte. Winds out the south-southwest about 5 to 7 miles an hour. Dew points in the middle 50s here. As we get up into the mountains, we got some beautiful weather as well. Quiet conditions up at Beach Mountain right now. Maybe they would like it a little bit colder for some of the area ski resorts. Quiet conditions on satellite right now. Pinpoint radar, nothing going on here. We zoom out. Notice here, see how these clouds, you kind of see this big ridge? I'll switch it over to water vapor imagery, really highlighting that big ridge across the southeast. Going to be keeping our temperatures very, very warm here over the next, not just 3, not just 5, but at least 7 days here, all the way through the middle part of next week. We are staying very, very warm. Across the southeast, 70 in Nashville, 70 in Birmingham, 64 in Atlanta, 61 in Columbia. It is mild, warm out there all across the region. Temperatures likely going to be peaking here on your Friday. Forecasting a high of 81. The current record is 80. Could make a little history here as we wrap up the weekend. Be part of this big ridge continues to crank here across the southeast, keeping those temperatures well above average, and there is no end in sight over the next week. Futurecast overnight tonight, heading into your Thursday morning, a little bit of low cloud cover to start, but generally going to be a beautiful day out there across the region. Clouds start to break here, back up into the mid-70s. During the afternoon hours, we head into your Thursday night. A little bit of clearing here across the region as we roll into your Friday, the low cloud cover to start. And then from there is a chance an isolated shower could be possible as we go throughout the afternoon, especially I'd say north and west of the QC. But really I'm watching here's the temperatures and see if we make a run into the lower 80s. As we go into your Saturday, the shower chances start to inch up a little bit more here across the region. 5 o'clock on your Saturday evening, there's all that cloud cover across the region, and then you start to see the clouds start to break in, a chance of some showers here as we go through the evening hours. But really the day I'm going to be circling for the wet weather is going to be on your Sunday here with that potential wet weather, and we could really use it with the drought conditions that we continue to deal with across the Carolinas. Get a fresh drought monitor in tomorrow here. It was a beautiful evening. Low temperatures tonight, middle 50s here in Charlotte, upper 40s. We head up into the mountains, 55 in Charlotte. Let's go around the Carolinas tomorrow. Got a beautiful day, another spectacular day on the way across the Sandhills, mid to upper 70s here, upstate South Carolina, middle 70s on the way. We get towards Charlotte, Concord, and Albemarle, mostly sunny skies. Beautiful weather continuing here as we go through your Thursday. Shelby and Gastonia, similar story there. Lots of sunshine, a little mix of sun and clouds for Statesville and Salisbury. As we get up in the foothills, more sunshine. And even up in the mountains here, going to be right around the 70-degree mark or so. Your mountain forecast here, watching some of those showers on the way, a little bit more of an active forecast for you compared to what we'll see here in Charlotte, your pinpoint 7-day forecast. And don't forget, we spring forward this weekend, but boy, does it already feel like spring, Brian.
It does, and certainly a good reminder about Saturday night into Sunday as well. A heated pair of races in the Texas primary, while one of those contests are headed for a runoff, and celebrating the veterans who own businesses, how the U.S. Capitol recognized those who went from serving their country to serving their local community. You're watching Queen City News, the most honored and the most local news in Charlotte. Calls are growing for South Carolina officials to suspend Silfab Solar's operations in Fort Mill. It comes after yesterday's chemical spill, which the company says has since been cleaned up. As Queen City News reporter Jen Cardone tells us, parents at a nearby school say that's not enough, and they, along with district officials, want more done.
Can't trust Silfab. We need to do our own independent research, and we need to make changes because what happened today could have been a lot worse.
Parents of students from Flint Hill Elementary wasted no time making their voices heard about Silfab Solar. They say the controversial facility is so close to the school, it's not safe. They packed Tuesday night's Fort Mill School Board meeting.
What happened today was just a teaser of what will happen. And these babies that are in the school and something happens to them, their blood is on your hands.
This comes after officials announced a chemical spill at the plant on Tuesday. We're told from officials 300 gallons were spilled and the remaining 30 were cleaned up by a York County hazmat team and private contractors. Now district leaders are calling on the state to take away permits and halt operations. State environmental officials told Silfab to stop receiving chemicals after learning it had done so before becoming fully operational. This is also after potassium hydroxide leaked into a nearby retention pond, which officials say was outside of the containment area. A public records request shows the facility received a certificate of occupancy on February 13th. Silfab leaders said in a statement they paused chemical deliveries until the Department of Environmental Services gives them the okay and says they will only restart deliveries once all regulatory requirements are met. Silfab says it's committed to the safety of the community and its employees. County leaders say although the spill did not pose a threat to public safety, they regret it happened and look to hold Silfab accountable. Jen Cardone, Queen City News.
Coming up, the victims from the mass shooting in Austin, Texas. We'll tell you about the lives those people touched. And a legendary name in college football, the sports world says goodbye to Lou Holtz. You're watching Queen City News, the most honored and the most local news in Charlotte. It has been 3 days now since a mass shooting that killed 3 people in Austin, Texas. And as Sydney Gray reports, the close friends of one of the victims are reflecting on what he meant to them.
The last one was good with him.
Kit Ingersoll grew up with George Peterson in Minneapolis. The duo went into business together in 2021, George only stepping away to move to Austin to further his MMA career.
And that's something I always supported. I know he wanted to go pro. I knew he was going to go pro as well. He was just that guy.
Kit says George was his closest best friend. They even have birthdays within days of each other. Now, dealing with grief, Kit is driving George's belongings from Texas back to Minneapolis.
I didn't really faint, but I fell to the ground. My hands started having tremors. I couldn't open up my hands. I was just in so much shock and fear that what I heard was true.
I want people to remember his name, to say his name. George Peterson.
Spencer Larson is also grieving. He met George in 2014 and says George could make an entire room smile.
I mean, he just made an impact on anyone everywhere he went, whether that was making people laugh or just being a good guy.
While heartbroken, Spencer says he knows George's impact, even on those he just met, will forever be felt.
I want them to remember that he was a kind-hearted, loving individual who would make anyone laugh, and he was an inspiring MMA artist that was going to make it into the UFC. He just didn't get his shot.
Kit says George's mother, Nancy, is still shaken by the tragedy. She told the New York Times he was excited about a new opportunity. Now she's planning his funeral. There's a growing fundraiser for George, nearing its $25,000 goal.
Anyone that met him or crossed paths with him, will remember him for sure.
Families are also still mourning the other 2 lives lost. Savitha Shawn was an only child, and Ryder Harrington was a brother to many.
A soldier from Fort Bragg is charged with second-degree murder tonight after a shooting on Christmas Eve in Rockwood, Tennessee. Authorities arrested Specialist Jacob Stennett at his Fort Bragg post. The victim, a man named Tommy Cooper, is believed to be Stennett's uncle. Cooper himself was arrested last July after explosives and a U.S. military rocket launcher were found on his property. Stennett has allegedly signed a waiver to be extradited from Tennessee. Most powerful politician in the state of North Carolina could be on the verge of losing that seat after a razor-thin primary that has him trailing his opponent by only 2 votes. The race between incumbent Phil Berger and Sam Page will now go to a recount, and one political expert is calling the race historic. Page is the current Rockingham County Sheriff and says Berger has had enough time in Raleigh. Even after the recount, there could be lawsuits from both parties. As one expert says, Berger losing his seat would be unprecedented.
We've never seen a situation like this in North Carolina. Look, incumbents lose, but incumbents who are the most powerful politician in the state, that doesn't tend to happen very often, especially not in a primary.
Berger still holds the seat until at least January, no matter the outcome of the primary. The other high-profile races on the primary night came out of the Lone Star State last night, where a Senate race is headed to a runoff now. Xavier Walton tells us more about the fireworks on election night.
Drama certainly did not disappoint here in the Lone Star State. It was a late night, early morning, and the action is not over yet. Republican Senate candidates are heading for a runoff. Let's start with the Texas GOP. Let's start with incumbent Senator John Cornyn and Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton set to go head-to-head on May 26th. After splitting the vote Tuesday, our partners at Decision Desk HQ show Cornyn leading with 42% to Paxton's nearly 41%. That's how close it is. Congressman Wesley Hunt considered a long shot, finishing with a little more than 13% of the vote. Now, this was the most expensive Senate primary in U.S. history. Look at those numbers. Cornyn alone spending more than $71 million.
I refuse to allow a flawed, self-centered, and shameless candidate like Ken Paxton risk everything we've worked so hard to build over these many years. There is simply too much at stake in this midterm election for our state and for our country.
Here's what we proved tonight. While the money may be on his side, the people are on our side. Yes, sir. And in Texas, the people always win.
Now to the Texas Democratic Senate primary, almost as heated, with moderate state rep James Tallarico squaring off with progressive Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. DDHQ projects Tallarico as the winner with just over 53% of the vote. And while no Democrat has won a statewide race in Texas since 1994, Tellerico says he is confident things are changing.
The number of young people who showed up to vote in this election is unprecedented. The number of Texans who have never voted before but showed up in this election is unprecedented. The number of independents and Republicans who voted in this Democratic primary is unprecedented. This is proof that there is something happening in Texas.
And at the start, we talked about drama, talk about problems at the polls, which led state courts to extend voting hours in some counties, but the state Supreme Court issued a stay of that order, throwing the ballots cast after 7 p.m. into limbo, including in Dallas County, which is Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett's home base right now. It's unclear right now when this will be settled in the courts. Meantime, DDHQ projects that Congressman Dan Crenshaw loses to State Rep Steve Toth, and YouTuber Brandon Herrera will be in a runoff with Congressman Tony Gonzalez.
Lawmakers in South Carolina are reviving a push tonight to try and align state tax laws with the federal law established in the One Big Beautiful Bill. They're now working to fast track the provisions that would introduce certain federal deductions. But with the discussion happening in the middle of tax season, residents don't know whether to hold off on filing yet. Lawmakers had originally said the state wouldn't comply with the new tax laws, but now experts say taxpayers will want to pay close attention to the ruling.
My advice for people who have already done their taxes is be prepared to explore whether or not filing an amended return is going to make sense for you, assuming that this passes.
This week marks National Invest in Veterans Week, geared toward honoring veterans who own small businesses. Kristen Eskow spoke to some of those people that were recognized earlier today at the nation's capital.
When I was in the Army, I had a hard time finding a hairstylist with moving around all the time.
Crystal Harrell says that experience encouraged her to go to cosmetology school. A year ago, she started a business selling products for curly hair.
I have 4 kids. We all have different curls, and I just wanted a line that I could just use one line, one brand.
Starting a business was also a passion project for Coast Guard veteran Andrew Lynham. He and his partner are both veterans and create 3D American flag artwork.
We went from one CNC machine doing 10 to 15 flags a month to now we have 4 CNC machines and we do anywhere from 300 to 400 flags a month.
According to the U.S. Census Bureau, as of 2021, veterans owned roughly 5% of all businesses nationwide. But some are trying to get that percentage to grow and help veteran entrepreneurs reach success.
They're able to find community and find a place where they can share and feel like it's a safe place to share some of the challenges.
Corinne Goebel runs the Association of Women's Business Centers. Her organization has partnered with TikTok to provide coaching to veterans whose businesses use the platform.
We learned a lot about just positioning and product placement and finding our customer.
These veterans encourage others who have served to not be afraid to become their own boss.
Life is short. Follow your dreams. Do what you want to do for you.
The program is hoping to train and graduate 100 veterans. In Washington, I'm Kristen Eskow.
The pain at the gas pump following the conflict in the Middle East is affecting drivers here in the Carolinas. As a AAA spokesperson says, the average price for a gallon of gas in South Carolina is up 26 cents to around $2.89 in Spartanburg County. While the state average is just a cent more, Tiffany Wright says the change in the Palmetto State happened quicker than normal.
Sometimes it takes a little bit longer for it to reach the pump, but it's kind of already reached the pump, right? In South Carolina, the average, we've gone up 26 cents.
The average for a gallon of gas in South Carolina is 7 cents from just yesterday alone. A legendary coach in the world of college football, Lou Holtz, died today at the age of 89. Holtz led Notre Dame to a national championship in 1988 before ending his retirement to lead the squad at the University of South Carolina. Greg Wolf shares the legacy and the message to the game that he leaves behind.
There's only one way you get respect, and that's by looking somebody in the eye for 60 minutes. Go out there, hitch up your trousers and say, hey, baby, here I am now. Let me see you run through me now. Let me see you show some disrespect for me with a nose on your nose. Let me see what you think of me now that my face is to you.
Known for his inspirational speeches and talent for motivating his players, Lou Holtz is the only coach in college football history to lead 6 different schools to a bowl game. Louis Leo Holtz was born in West Virginia in 1937. Holtz landed his first head coaching job at the College of William and Mary in 1969, and he would later go on to coach NC State, Arkansas, and Minnesota to 10 bowl games in 13 years. In 1986, Holtz took over one of college football's most storied but struggling programs, Notre Dame, and returned them to national prominence. In 11 seasons in South Bend, Holtz, the strict disciplinarian and taskmaster, led the Irish to 9 straight bowl games and a school record 23-game win streak, including the 1988 National Championship. Holtz would win 100 games with the Fighting Irish before retiring in 1996, second only to the legendary Knute Rockne. After only 3 seasons, Holtz ended his retirement, returning to coach the University of South Carolina.
Where do you go from Notre Dame except, according to my mother, directly to heaven? You sit by the Pope. You just don't do anything else. But as I said before, I'm a teacher, and I just feel that that's a role that I should play.
In his first year in Columbia, he didn't win a single game. But the next season, Holtz posted one of the largest single-season turnarounds in NCAA history, going 8-4, including an Outback Bowl victory over favored Ohio State. Holtz left coaching for good in 2004. In 2008, Holtz was elected to the College Football Hall of Fame and honored with a statue outside of Notre Dame Stadium.
And you're going to have setbacks, you're going to have disappointment. But you got 2 choices when you're down: stay down or pick yourself up. But the wonderful opportunities, I hope they'll look and say, you know, if that dumb sucker can do it, so can I.
We are following breaking news tonight as you're looking live in Northwest Charlotte, where police say a person is dead after they were struck by a car. It happened at the 5600 block of Brookshire Boulevard on the northwest side, just inside the 485 loop. It happened just before 9 o'clock. We don't have any further details right now. As you can see, police are on the scene right now in the investigation. We'll keep following this story and bringing more details on QCnews.com. As America prepares to celebrate 250 years, a major advancement has been how we travel through the sky, and the history of flight dates back to right here in North Carolina. Bob Buckley tells us how the state is still innovating the future as well.
Now let's go back to the turn of the century, the beginning of the gasoline age.
For millennia, the idea of flight was built on little more than myth and a prayer, until a couple of bicycle makers went to the North Carolina coast and pointed their glider into the invisible currents of air.
They were the first to be successful out of many who were experimenting.
The Wright brothers broke gravity's grip for a mere 12 seconds, but it was enough to turn the province of the gods into a new frontier for man. Wilbur and Orville might not recognize flight as we know it today. As the sun sets on the aviation of the last century, what is rising is a whole new world of air travel.
Our mission is to reshape aviation, right? The world needs better planes.
Tom O'Leary is the co-founder and CEO of Jet Zero, whose new plane, the Z4, is like a flying set of wings that burns half the fuel of traditional planes and provides the kind of space that makes everyone on board more comfortable. How will this change air travel?
Oh, it's going to be amazing. Really, anything that you can do in a plane, you can do better in this shape of a plane.
Because I think your term for it is, it's more of a home than a hallway.
That's right. When people get inside, they're like, oh, yeah, I like this, makes sense.
Will your model be the standard, do you think, in 20 or 25 years?
Absolutely.
Right next door to where Jet Zero will make the Z4 in Greensboro, North Carolina, Boom Supersonic is taking us back to the future.
This is our XB1, this is our prototype.
Boom is shrinking maps by reviving flight at nearly twice the speed of sound.
You could leave 9 a.m. in New York, arrive 9:30 a.m. in San Francisco. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be way more affordable than Concorde ever was, and it's going to be great for the people on the airplane and the people on the ground.
It's a future the U.S. military is counting on by investing hundreds of millions of dollars in the two companies.
You will see all-wing jets that we're flying on that are transporting goods that the military uses. You're going to see this shape of a plane, not just every once in a while when a B-2 flies over the Super Bowl or what have you.
For more than 50 years, flying faster than the speed of sound was banned in the U.S. because of sonic booms, but Boom Supersonic says it solved that with what it calls boomless cruise.
It's based on long-known physics called Mach cutoff that basically uses the refractive power of the atmosphere to make the sonic boom make a big U-turn in the sky. So it comes down off the airplane, it makes a big U-turn in the sky before it ever touches the ground. So the boom still exists, but nobody hears it.
Those first trembling moments above sand and sea opened the long conversation between humanity and the sky. How poetic is it that this is happening in the birthplace of aviation here in North Carolina?
I mean, you can't write it any better than this, right? North Carolina's first in flight and now first in the future of flight.
In Greensboro, North Carolina.
Just you wait. It's going to be great.
I'm Bob Buckley.
Pretty cool stuff there. Let's talk about the weather, which is another cool thing to talk about, especially over the next few days. Live look here at Banner Elk tonight. Boy, they got to warm up in the mountains. Only going to get warmer for the next few days here in the Piedmont, Sandhills. Meteorologist Andrew Brightman joining us right now to talk about possible record temperatures for the end of the week. And how hot are we talking?
We're talking about temperatures potentially moving up to the low 80s here, Brian. It's going to be day after day, and this isn't something that's going to be ending anytime soon. I mean, likely continuing right into next week here with the possible record warmth on the way across the Carolinas, hovering with our temperatures consistently about 15 to some days going to be 20 degrees above average here across portions of the Carolinas. So if you love warm weather, well, you're really going to be loving what we're going to be seeing here over the next few days across the region. Outside currently in Gastonia, you got beautiful weather currently here, and really that's the case all across the Carolinas this evening, and likely going to continue here at least through the rest of the week. So that amazing evening, the warm weather not going anywhere. And then we do have a little bit of wet weather here as we get to your Sunday. We'll talk more about that in a moment. 64 degrees currently. Winds out of the south-southwest about 5 to 7 miles an hour right now. Beach Mountain currently quiet conditions, though they're certainly not going to be blowing any snow up there for a while. Pinpoint radar is quiet. Still got the big ridge here across the southeastern portion of the United States. You can kind of see the moisture in the mid to upper levels of the atmosphere sort of moving around this ridge and keeping our temperatures well above average for the foreseeable future. Speaking of temperatures here, 70 in Memphis, 72 in Jackson, 64 in Mobile, 65 in Tallahassee. Don't forget, also this weekend, we do spring forward 1 hour as we move those clocks forward here, starting daylight saving time. And I know so many people are so excited about that extra hour here in the evening. We're going to keep that ridge cranking throughout the rest of the week here, and generally all the way through the middle of March. We're talking towards now the end of next week. Temperatures still staying at least above average, potentially well above average here across the Carolinas. Really going to be loving this weather here across the region. Futurecast in motion. Cloud cover moving on in here during the overnight. Maybe a little bit of low cloud cover early Thursday morning, but from there the clouds clear out. Temperatures move back up into the mid-70s here across the region. Overnight Thursday heading into your Friday morning. There's some of the clouds across the Carolinas, and moving forward here, might see an isolated shower on your Friday afternoon, especially up across the mountains, but generally staying dry with those possible record highs on the way. And then as we go into your Saturday, we start with a lot of low cloud cover. Once again, skies clear, temperatures back up in the mid-70s, close to the 80-degree mark, though might see an isolated shower, but the best chance for wet weather is going to come on your Sunday. A lot more cloud cover. Temperatures still warming up again here, and then you see some of those scattered showers and storms developing during the afternoon, heading into the evening here at the front. That's going to be pushing through the Carolinas. As for tonight and heading into your Thursday morning, partly cloudy skies, temperatures well above average here across the Carolinas. Upper 40s for Boone, mid-50s here in Charlotte, 55 in Charlotte. Let's go to your pinpoint 7-day forecast. We spring forward, but those spring temperatures are already here, and they're not going anywhere across the Carolinas anytime soon.
Good, Andrew, thank you. A New Jersey crossing guard is turning heads with her impeccable fashion sense, but her story reaches far beyond the length of a crosswalk. Here with impeccable fashion sense herself is our girl Gia Lancey. What's coming up on CSL tonight?
Lots of good stuff in Charlotte. You know that coming up on Carolina Sports Live. Another huge game for the Hornets as they were up in Beantown to take on the Celtics, and they are buzzing. They grabbed their 6th straight win against the second best team in the East. Not too shabby. We break that all down. Plus, the Black and Blue have locked in 2 key players, and we have some Panthers preseason news as well. All of that and more coming up in just a few minutes.
Sounds good, Gia. We'll see you in just a little bit. You're watching Queen City News tonight, the most honored and the most local news in Charlotte. Crossing guards tend to wear clothes that stand out to make sure they can be seen by drivers, and an 82-year-old New Jersey woman was more than prepared for the task. Paulette Dorloffer was known as the mama in the town of Lexington. She has been in this style here for the crosswalk for the last two decades, but her story goes deeper than safely crossing the road. She is a Holocaust survivor born in France. She says she was saved by a nurse after losing her parents and then came to America before being adopted. She says all the jobs she's worked, being a crossing guard has been her favorite by far.
I came on the Queen Elizabeth. The orphanage gave me a white rabbit fur coat and muff. And when I went on to the ship, the Queen Elizabeth, they had apple green seats. I love to be dressed, and I always say you never know when you're invited to a party. I'm all ready to go.
She is looking very stylish and warm in that coat. Paulette has raised a mother of three, as well as a grandmother and soon to be a great-grandmother. And a heartwarming reunion in Colorado after Rocky was brought back to his owner after the dog survived 43 days in the mountains. 10-year-old Rocky went missing back in December after running away from a pet sitter while his owner was traveling. Local volunteers spent weeks looking for him and used a tip from a homeowner's Ring camera as well as a trap set where the owner scent. Rocky lost more than 20 pounds. During that time, the Summit posted this video of the two finally coming back together. Very cool. Good to see. Good reunion. You're watching Queen City News, the most honored and the most local news in Charlotte. We'll be right back with the final check of your pinpoint forecast, followed by Carolina Sports Live.
One final check in, your pinpoint 7-day forecast here. Brian, we've got some warm temperatures, maybe record warmth on the way here across the Carolinas.
Heat it up.
It's going to be heating up.
Sweat factor really high the next few days.
We're cranking up the sweat factor through the middle of next week.
All right, looking forward to it. A lot of crank it up, 78, 81, 81, 80s again. Good stuff. We'll see you later tomorrow, and stay right there. We got CSL coming up next.